Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Saturday, September 13, 2025. I am Michael Henry. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, Guyana-Surinam recommit to advance cooperation in energy, trade and security. President Ali says Guyana-Surinam to establish joint commission on fisheries. SHYAM, NOKTA, MAHENDRA, CARPEN, KOFI, DALRYMPLE among new senior advisors in President Ali's government. New Demerara River Bridge set for opening later this month. And over $4 billion spent since 2020 to modernize LUSIGNAN prison. Now for the news in detail. We begin tonight's newscast by telling you that Guyana and Suriname have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral relations with Presidents Dr. Irfan Ali and Jennifer Geerlings-Simons, pledging to accelerate cooperation in trade, energy, security, and infrastructure development. Trishelle Sobers has more in our lead story.
President Dr. Irfan Ali and Suriname's President Jennifer Geerlings-Simons met in New Naikiri on Saturday, where they held extensive discussions on advancing joint economic opportunities and consolidating ties rooted in shared values, geographic proximity, and cultural connections. Following the conclusion of high-level talks, both presidents underscored the importance of encouraging private sector partnerships, including joint ventures, to maximize investment opportunities. According to President Ali, both nations agreed on establishing mechanisms to improve the ease of doing business, transparency, and efficiency for investors on both sides of the quarantine. This includes addressing outstanding issues on the transformational Quarantine River Bridge project, which will run approximately 3.1 kilometers connecting Molson Creek in Guyana to South Drain in Suriname, with a landing on Long Island in the Quarantine River, where a commercial hub and tourist destination will be established. To this end, a coordinating group will be established to address technical, financial, and legal matters to advance the project. Another the two heads of state committed to is advancing energy.
Energy security is an important pillar on our growth and development for both countries, and we advance discussions as to how we can build this infrastructure, support each other, not only in terms of the energy security of Guyana and Suriname, but how we can play that wider role in terms of energy security and the possibilities around an energy economy for the rest of the region in CARICOM and, of course, further afield. Not only in oil, but the gas development, renewable energy, and in the interconnection of our grid across the region. We committed to exploring joint ventures, knowledge sharing, exchanging knowledge and technology, and looking at investment opportunities in the energy ecosystem for both our countries to advance collectively and for our private sectors to also advance collectively.
Moreover, President Ali has revealed that both sides agreed on the need to urgently improve ferry services between the two countries and to collaborate on a new regional ferry project to enhance trade and mobility.
Now, important in the movement of goods and services and people is the ferry service. We recognize that there needs to be improvement in the efficiency and reliability of the ferry service. Therefore, we agreed that there is need for an urgent review in improving and strengthening the reliability and efficiency of this service, and we have committed to having that review and to take the necessary action that would lead to the improvement of that service.
Meanwhile, on security, Presidents Ali and Geerlings-Simons reiterated their commitment to fighting transnational crime, including drug and human trafficking, while advancing a coordinated security architecture. They also reaffirmed their country's commitment to resolving border issues peacefully through dialogue and international law. Both leaders restated their dedication to strengthening bilateral ties, not only in the national interest, but also for the benefit of CARICOM and the wider region, while positioning Guyana and Suriname as central players in regional food and energy security. Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Meanwhile, during the high-level engagement between the two neighboring countries, the presidents of Guyana and Suriname, Dr. Irfan Ali and Jennifer Girling-Simons, have agreed to set up a joint commission to further advance cooperation in the fisheries sector. Since 2021, Suriname had promised to issue some 150 licenses for Guyanese fisher folks to operate in the territorial waters of the Dutch-speaking nation. Despite various representations by Guyanese officials, this was never done. However, the two heads of state today agreed to work closely to advance agriculture within the framework of the Strategic Dialogue and Cooperation Platform, including in the area of fishery. Here is more.
Agriculture, food security, and fisheries are important sectors for both of us. We both have an enormous opportunity in contributing to the food security of CARICOM and in building out an ecosystem that would position Guyana and Suriname as major food producer in our region. We agreed to establish a joint commission comprising of the ministers responsible for fisheries, technical teams and relevant stakeholders, including the fishing societies themselves and our fisher folk, before the end of 2025 to further advance cooperation in fisheries. As it relates to agricultural cooperation, we agreed to work closely under the Strategic Dialogue and Cooperation Platform. We believe that in advancing the issues of food security, agriculture, and fisheries, that we must have all stakeholders fully on board, integrated, and to have a common strategy and a common platform through which the opportunities can be pursued on both sides.
Guyana and Suriname have renewed their unwavering commitment to the peaceful settlement of the border controversy between the two neighboring countries through dialogue with full respect for international law. This commitment was reiterated during a meeting between President Dr. Irfan Ali and his Surinamese counterpart, Jennifer Girling-Simons, at New Nickerie, Suriname, earlier today. In recent years, the Dutch-speaking nation has renewed claims to the New River Triangle, which is located within Guyana's territory. During today's meeting, the two leaders agreed for the chairs of both border commissions to meet as soon as possible, underscoring the importance of maintaining a spirit of good relations. Let's have a look.
Both of us, Madam President and I, reiterated our unwavering commitment to the peaceful settlement of border matters through diplomacy, dialogue, and respect for international law. We agreed that the chair of both commissions will meet as soon as possible and thereafter convene the 7th meeting of the Suriname-Guyana Joint Border Commission before the end of this year. We both underscore the importance of maintaining a spirit of good neighborliness in addressing every matter with the foundational pillars of peace, international rule of law, and prosperity of our people.
We now tell you that President Dr. Irfan Ali has appointed several persons as senior advisors in his government as he continues to streamline key positions within the new administration. Find out more in this report. SHYAM NOKTA has been appointed as Presidential Advisor on Climate Change and Biodiversity renowned cardiologist Dr. MAHENDRA CARPEN as Presidential Advisor on Science and Healthcare, Modernization, Dr. KOFI DALRYMPLE as Advisor in the Ministry of Education on Tertiary Education Reform, Geeta Chandan Edmond as Senior Advisor to the Government of Guyana, and Mishka White-Griffith as Chief Planning Officer in the Ministry of Education. According to President Ali, more important appointments will be announced shortly. SHYAM NOKTA is a natural resources, environment, and climate change consultant with extensive experience in policy, strategy development, and implementation. He previously served as advisor to the President and the head of the Office of Climate Change, where he was instrumental in advancing Guyana's low-carbon development strategy and the avoided deforestation partnership with Norway. Dr. CARPEN brings to his position expertise as an interventional cardiologist and cardiac electrophysiologist. He has served as head of medical services and cardiology at the Georgetown Public Hospital and a consultant cardiologist to the Caribbean Heart Institute and managing director of Cardiology Services, Inc. at St. Joseph Mercy Hospital. Dr. Dalrymple, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Technology at the University of Guyana, is an academic with a background as engineer, scientist, and entrepreneur, while Chandan Edmond is an attorney at law and a former member of National Assembly, and White Griffith has experience in education administration and has served as a principal at the School of the Nations. These appointments come as the head of state is streamlining key positions for his second term in office. Only Friday, President Ali announced the appointments of Sharon Rupchan Edwards as the new permanent secretary of the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Roger Rogers at the Tourism Industry and Commerce Ministry, Duane Ellis at the Agriculture Ministry, and Dr. Erica Fort at the Human Services and Social Security Ministry. 1 week after being sworn into office for his second term, after his re-election at the September 1 general and regional elections, President Ali is expected to name and swear in his new cabinet on Saturday evening. Michael Henry, The Evening News. The highly anticipated new bridge across the Demerara River is expected to be fully open to vehicular traffic before the end of this month, according to President Dr. Irfan Ali, who outlined plans in place to ensure efficient traffic management. Let's have a look.
President Dr. Irfan Ali conducted a site visit on Friday to inspect the progress of construction works at the Eastern Approach Road that is being built to connect the new $262 million Demerara River Bridge. These roadworks, which include a roundabout on the Heroes Highway, are the final phases in the completion of the highly anticipated new Demerara River Bridge, which is set for opening later this month.
From everything I've seen and I've been told, we are looking for a opening before the end of this month. When I say opening fully for traffic. So the final phase of testing in relation to the roads, the load testing on the bridge is ongoing also. The full load testing will be completed on the bridge so that we will have this project ready for use long before the end of this month. So I'm pleased to see the final phase of the approach road work and the roundabout. From what I've seen, that would also be completed in the course of another three days maximum.
The new bridge is a 2.65 kilometer 4-lane cable-stayed concrete structure with a 50-meter fixed high span to cater for the free and uninterrupted flow of vehicular traffic and passage of vessels. To support the new bridge, approach roads are being constructed at both ends of the bridge, which lands at the Nandi Park on the east bank of Demerara and at Lagrange on the west bank of Demerara.
What we are also looking at is the expansion of the Heroes Highway into adding 2 collectors lane to take the traffic that goes directly onto the what we call the Hogsbush interconnection going all the way back to Ogle. So the engineers are looking at that also so that you can have greater efficiency in terms of traffic flow. On the west side of the bridge, of course, there's a collector lane that has been added to take the traffic from the west bank directly off of the bridge and to put it back on the west bank carriageway instead of going around the roundabout on the west side of the bridge.
Meanwhile, with the aim of having good traffic management after the bridge becomes operational, government will look at flyovers in the future to take the traffic off the bridge.
The ultimate goal is to have, for the greatest efficiency is to have 2 flyovers, one on the Hero Highway and one on the west bank, but that is those are projects we're looking at in the future and not immediately. So we'll see how this design in terms of traffic management work. But definitely with the growth of the traffic, we'll have to have an unimpeded flow of traffic coming off the bridge over the new highway on both sides, going on to, whether you're going on to the East Coast or the East Bank or the West Coast and West Bank. So that is where we are.
The bridge is being constructed by China Railway Construction International Limited with Polytechnica as the supervisory consultant and with support from the technical team at the Public Works Ministry. This new bridge will operate 24/7 and toll-free and will replace the aged floating Demerara Harbour Bridge, which will be removed and reused to bridge other waterways across the country. Lawanda McAllister for the Evening News.
Coming up on the other side of the break, over $4 billion spent since 2020 to modernize LUSIGNAN prison. Please stay tuned.
Gold mining can be expensive if you don't have the right tools. Mining requires engines that can pump high volumes of water and slurry, the most tried and tested of which are Doots engines. Doots engines are among the most reliable in the world. Where can you get them? At your #1 industrial solutions provider, Sylvies. We have them in 2 to 6 cylinders, ranging from 23 horsepower to 80 horsepower. Most miners use Doots engines because they're lightweight, use less fuel, and require less maintenance because they are air-cooled. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. An intelligence officer, along with ranks from the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, conducted an intelligence-led operation in the Sapphire D Field area at about 14 hours on Friday, during which a 22-year-old taxi driver was nabbed for possession of an unlicensed firearm and matching rounds of ammunition. Based on police reports, the ranks observed a white Allion motorcar bearing registration number PAG 3549 parked on the D Field access road. At the time, a group of males was seen liming near the car. After inquiring about the owner, 22-year-old Tyrese Blair, a taxi driver of Sapphire, came forward. A search conducted on his person came up empty. However, the officers unearthed a black Beretta 9mm pistol without a serial number, containing 1 magazine and 5 live 9mm rounds of ammunition that was concealed under the gear shift booth between the 2 front seats. The suspect was asked if he was the holder of a firearm license and said no. As such, he was arrested and escorted to the Turkian police station along with the car, firearm and ammunition. Blair remains in police custody as investigations continue. The Guyana Prison Service has expended more than $4 billion on the LUSIGNAN prison complex since 2020, with officials declaring that the funds were allocated to create facilities that meet international standards and prioritize rehabilitation over punishment. Luan McAllister joins us with the details.
Appearing on the latest edition of Prison in Focus, a monthly program produced by the Guyana Prison Service, senior officers underscored that the new headquarters and cell blocks at the LUSIGNAN Penitentiary on the east coast of Demerara are part of a long-term modernization plan that is already reshaping how the country's largest prison operates. Deputy Director of Prisons Kevin Pilgrim stated that it is a significant milestone for the service.
That building was specifically designed with all of the features of any modern prison headquarters.
Yes.
Traditionally, all of the other buildings would have occupied those other buildings, but this was designed specifically for its purpose.
The new headquarters, which is worth over $400 million of the $4 billion, is located within the LUSIGNAN compound and serves as a command center for daily operations and monitoring. According to prison officials, the building is designed to integrate the latest security measures.
All of the surveillance feeds will come back to that center, and they will provide that third eye support for locations. Additionally, you have the executive leadership team that will be housed in that facility. LUSIGNAN prison being the largest facility within the country, housing close to 1,300 inmates. It is critical that the director rate be close, but not too close to usurp the authority of the officer in charge.
While much of the spending has gone into physical infrastructure, officials stressed that the investment is also tied to a philosophical shift. The funds have supported the construction of vocational workshops, a new training wing for staff, and spaces aimed at family reconciliation programs. These additions, according to the prison service, are intended to prepare inmates for integration into society while improving conditions for officers working inside the facility. Lawanda McAllister for the Evening News.
Millers on the west coast of Berbice, Region 5, Mahika Berbice, are now offering rice farmers $2,800 per bag of paddy. Andrew Carmichael joins us to report that rice farmers had been selling their paddy to mills over the past week without any arrangements on what price they would be paid. However, on Friday, two rice mills in the region, Saj Rice Mill at Burma and Rayadul Haq Rice Industry at Mahaikoni, both issued notices indicating that they will be offering no more than $2,800 per bag of paddy supplied. Here is more.
In Region 5, where about 100,000 acres were under rice cultivation, farmers began harvesting last month and were not told or aware of the price millers would offer for a 143-pound bag of paddy. The price has been set at $2,800 per bag of paddy. This is compared with $3,700 during the first crop this year, when the government agreed to subsidize $300 for each bag, ensuring that the farmers receive no less than $4,000 for each bag of paddy they supply to the mill. During the first crop in 2025, the government, recognizing the vulnerability of rice farmers to fluctuations in global market prices, took a proactive step to ensure they receive a stable and fair compensation for their paddy. One major initiative includes the exploration and establishment of a guaranteed minimum pricing mechanism, where the government may intervene to support prices during downturns. During the first crop this year, farmers and millers were at loggerheads over the price being offered by millers and the price rice farmers were willing to accept. The government negotiated with millers and supported an agreement that the farmers will receive no less than $4,000 per bag of paddy for the first crop of 2025. To ensure farmers get no less than $4,000 per bag, a $300 contribution was committed by the government for every bag of paddy sold to millers. The government allocated $2.7 billion for the project. Millers were initially reluctant to maintain previous crop prices, citing influences in world market prices, but the government's intervention, a floor of $4,000 per bag, was agreed. Global rice prices have experienced a decline in recent months due to a combination of factors affecting supply and demand dynamics. This decline in global rice prices has posed challenges for rice-producing nations like Guyana, where the farmers are vulnerable to international market shifts. During 2024, the national average yield per acre was 41 bags. While this crop is expected to be less because of poor weather, farmers in Region 5 say that production costs range between $3,500 and $3,800 to produce each bag of paddy. The government had supplied one bag of fertilizer to farmers for each acre of rice they had on the cultivation. The government had supplied 1 bag of fertilizer to farmers for each acre of rice they had under cultivation. The fertilizer subsidy cost the government an additional $2 billion. Nevertheless, the farmers in Region 5 told this newscast that the subsidy would have reduced production cost, bringing it between $3,200 and $3,500 per bag. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
The Guyana Elections Commission will commence the second cycle of continuous registration for 2025 on Monday, September 15 at all of its permanent registration offices in the 10 administrative regions. This registration exercise will conclude on Friday, November 28, 2025. During this registration exercise, anyone who will be 14 years and older by December 31, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more can apply for registration, providing that he or she was never registered before. Moreover, existing registrants who are desirous of updating their records, such as a request to correct or change their names, date of birth, occupation, and update their address, are advised that those transactions would also be facilitated during this exercise. Persons desirous of conducting any registration transaction are required to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for their area of residence with the relevant source documents, including original birth certificate, valid passport, adoption certificate, naturalization certificate or certificate of registration, and deed poll, along with original birth certificate if applicable in the case of making applications for new registration. For a name change, persons are required to have an original marriage certificate with decree absolute for divorced women, deed poll with birth certificate or a new original birth certificate. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Sunday, September 14, 2025 at 10 hours for 45 minutes and then again at 21 hours 45 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 9 hours 25 on Sunday, September 14, 2025, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Warriors storm into playoffs as Samson Pretorius topple Kings. This and more coming up in the Sportscast after the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, and industrial site Rhymeville.